DarkOswald, a obscure FNAF fan game character that I've grown to like over the years. So I have a whole book of drawings that I want to show you guys. But first, who is DarkOswald or Oswald Five Nights at Treasure Island? Well, what it is Oswald with no arms and a different color entirely to, well, the Oswald that we might know. So yeah, he is also a character that made the whole game biblical or something like that, because God. Not only in this book that I'm gonna have Oswald drawings, I'm also gonna have Ortensia drawings as well. So yeah, this is an old drawing book, at least maybe 2 years ago or a year. I don't know. I've been like making this in like a whole year school thing. So yeah, or a sketchbook. It's a sketchbook. The first character that I'm gonna be showing off that is in the first page, Oswald. Now the only problem I have with this book is this likes to stain a lot, so that's what you see right there. It looks like he has some beard. So yeah, DarkOswald, or in this case Oswald. Here's the design. Obviously it's missing some details, but this is like one of the first, well, proper drawings I wanted to draw of this guy. So yeah, I have a better version of this guy that I'll pretty sure we'll get to later, but right now let's move on to Ortensia. So yeah, a way more better drawing than what we just saw earlier. You just saw. Here's the original image of the Ortensia. Oh, I should also show off the original image of Oswald as well. Obviously some differences there, but Ortensia is pretty spot on. I wish I could have made the skirt a little bit better, but again, I was still new with the whole thing. So yeah. Now moving on from Ortensia. Oh wait, also I should show that, yeah, it does leave some marks behind. So yeah, but moving on to Ortensia. I guess technically a OC, I combined the two characters. That's what I used to do with these things. Or Oswald and Ortensia, I combined them like hourglass. And Ortensia was born. Some monstrosity I made there. I made their faces a little combined and like, yeah, this is that. Though that looks weird, but whatever. I also don't know why that I gave them a third leg, but yeah. The hat is slightly melting. There's stitches, if you can see that. If it doesn't blur that much, there we go. And yeah, I'm very proud of the eyeballs. It looks nice. So yeah, moving on from Ortensia to Ortensia version 2, my proudest creation. Yeah, there is obviously some differences. Also, this is not based on anything, so it's my own original OC of Ortensia and such Ortensia Oswald. So yeah, I have an older drawing that I think is way better, but I don't know where I left that. So yeah, here's the whole body, pretty gruesome if I do say so myself. I also gave it a cat tail because yes, I think I could have done a little bit better job, but those four that I showed off, you will see them later, way later. But yeah, that was all Ortensia. And now moving on to, well, a classic Oswald. Here's the image by side of the classic. Not really much to say on this guy. It's just Oswald with no arms. So let's just move on to Zwald and Orty, or Orty. Yeah, I don't really care about these two now. I try to make an excuse of like these two are being completely different, and these two are complete what had made, well, Ortensia from the very beginning page. But I just don't really care about him now, so yeah. Zwald reminds me of the tubular or Sonic Galaxy thing. So I did like what I did with the teeth. Is pretty nice. Hold on, if it focuses. Yeah, the teeth. Right there. Oh, come on. There we go. Teeth. Old man teeth. And I completely made Ordy a mascot. Nothing else to really say about these folks, so let's move on to... there we go. So another thing is I also did other fan-made versions of these guys, like Hellborn, but I did some of these characters, I did my own spin on them, so yeah. Hellborn Oswald from the what was it? The end of Disney, that's what it was. Here's the comparison side by side. And yeah, there's quite some differences. Kinda wish I kinda drawn them a little darker because they just look like a cactus, so yeah. But I'm proud of what I made. It looks a little bit more better than, well, the fleshy wall that we got there, so. Because there is some things to it, so yeah. Now moving on from Burntwald or whatever, Hellborn. to Hellborn Ortensia. God, that was blurry. There we go. So, not as much differences as the other one, other than, well, there's some little bit details like the fire, the bitten off ear, that thing. And yeah, it also has her iconic face with many eyeballs that for some reason she carries throughout the other models. Here's the comparison of side by side. Yeah, there's some little bit differences, but other than that, Oswald looks completely different, or a little bit different to the other, as Ortensia looks kind of the same, so yeah. Moving on from that to, what was it? Abandoned by Disney, or let the show begin. This is what this is. Here's a side-by-side to the Abandoned Oswald. There is really no difference to these versions. They're just dusty, so yeah, I kind of made them. Yeah, that's the best I can do with these folks. Nothing else to say. It's classic Oswald, so let's move on to Ortensia, that I'm pretty sure, yeah, she also looks the same. Though she does have a different flower. So yeah, here's the comparison, and also I made the skirt a little bit different as well, and I think she's a little taller. So yeah. Alright, next, that is Spirits. So technically the second game that's like FNAF free such. I don't remember what it was called, but there was a Springtrap Mickey, I think it was Mike or something, I don't know. But there are spirits in the game that can actually kill you, and my own take on the spirit here is the side-by-side. As you can see, there's at least some big differences, especially with the particles of, like, I guess the phantom effect, and, well, face in general, so yeah. For the spirit designs, I'm very proud of how they turned out, so, and I still like the spirits, or my version of the spirits. They're very spirity. Also, here's my realistic eyeball there we go. So there was Spirit Oswald. There is no Spirit Ortensia, so I have to make my own Spirit Ortensia, which there was also another fan-made Ortensia spirit, but this one right here is my own take on this, and I kind of like it. I like the, well, floatiness of it, and also the scar in the hat in general. The flower, no, I bet Fano snapped. She does look goofy without a nose, so it looks that way. So yeah, that was that one. Let's move on to yes, Nightmare Before Disney. My own take of Nightmare Oswald, and there's comparisons. Obviously, some differences there. Some stitches are there, and then the hanging eyeball, I guess. A lot of stitches. Oh god, I just realized what happened to the side. It got, his head was pulled. I swear. I think I tried to make a brain, but there's eye holes, as you can clearly see. I'm proud of the mouth. I mean, Nightmare Oswald, it's just a very weird design anyways, so... Or DarkOswald anyways, so yeah. I did like how it turned out. I wish it could have made it a little bit better, so... But that's, I mean, it's like a year ago, so... Now move on to Nightmare Ortensia. As you see, here's a side-by-side comparisons of the two, and there's some differences. Mainly to the eyeballs that made them actually try to connect, and they're just floating there, so... Yeah, I wish I could have made him a little bit more skinnier, but oh well. Nightmare Ortensia was always just an interesting nightmare to begin with, and honestly also a classic to me, other than Nightmare for the Negative Mickey and, well, classic Nightmares on Live Mouse, so yeah. I'm not sure how you could make it a little bit more different, but that's the best I could do, so let's move on to... Oh, okay. So I also made a Nightmare, classic Oswald, which, yeah, it kind of does look a little bit boring, but... That's the best I could do. I think I could have made this a little bit better, but oh well. That's your fan-made Nightmare Classic Oswald right there. Nothing else to say. There's the messed up legs that could stick on the floor. The mouth reminds me of Sally.exe. The different eyeballs. The multiple hands for some reason. Or arms, I guess. Shoulders, maybe, I don't know. Let's move on to the ink blots now. So... There's not much that I really change about the ink blots. The blank ink blocks looks like the ink blots. So here's a comparison side by side. I think there may be some differences, but I don't know. The ink blocks always had a cool design to me, and I wish that the original didn't just like copy paste from like, I mean, it took the original model and just made them a lot more creepier, because the other models that is official to them look really, really good. So yeah, and I think that's which this one came from, is from that model, so yeah. Now moving on from Inkblot Oswald to Inkblot Ortensia. Yep, Yeah. Obviously, not much differences. Well, I mean, looks like she had a fat neck, but yeah. Pretty accurate to the original Inkblot Ortensia and the other one, so yeah, not much to say about this one, but yeah, I like it. Alrighty, moving on to what? Ah, okay. So this version, the Nightborn Oswald, the original title, it's the original designs of the Hellborns. So it like before they became a whole different thing. It was just gonna be another Nightmare Before Disney until it entirely changes to something else. And here's the comparisons. He reminds me of Patrick Star. His kind of weak model. It's just Patrick Starfish Oswald. So yeah. And since they were based on the nightmares, I combined the word of the Hellborn and Nightmare to Nightborn. So I like the name. He also doesn't have a nose as well. It looks very goofy indeed. It's like one of those Muppet sharks. Now moving on from this one to the Ortensia one. Can't really think of. Okay, there it is. Okay, now I kind of remember. Nightborn Ortensia. I actually really like this model a lot. Sure, it's not. I mean, it's comparisons is not really much compared to the other Nightmare Ortensia that we showed off, but I liked way I did it, especially those eyes. As you see, this is where improvements or like the drawings gets more better the time goes on. And I don't know what else to say about this. It's Nightborn Ortensia. Now moving on to that to something else I can't remember. Ah, there we go. The Jackos. Now these guys I really like. There is nothing new I gave to the Jackos as well, so there's comparisons side by side. And I really like how I did myself with the, well, DarkOswald. I think I really done myself with this model. It looks, well, really good. If you don't agree with me, then whatever. Like every little detail I gave to this guy is, well, chef's kiss, I guess. The slice of that pumpkin pie. Moving on to another pumpkin, we got Jacko Ortensia. And oh lord, that's the long neck you got there. This one is a little bit more of a downgrade to the DarkOswald we saw earlier, since, I mean, these two, I mean, here are the comparisons, so yeah. DarkOswald looks a lot more better than this one, so I'm not sure why they didn't follow design to the other, but whatever. It is indeed a pumpkin jack-o'-lantern. I also really like the detail on the skirt. I done myself really good there, so I guess, yeah. Now moving on from the Jackos to, yes, the Breaking the Magic, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. This game is a little bit more unknown than some of the others, since I don't think much people know about this game specifically, or these characters, so yeah. Here's a comparison of Jigsaw Oswald side by side. I really like these models. It's a shame that they're not as known, but I think I also did my own take on this guy. So yeah, there's like some differences to this thing, while also trying to be more royal to the original design. So yeah, like especially the mouth. Yeah, that's all I can say for Jigsaw Oswald. Now moving on to Jigsaw Ortensia. This drawing was really hard to make since the head, like, well, the splitting head is a really cool design, but very hard to pull off. But I think I've done good with the model of this, and also, this is the first character that actually has arms, and I think they're actually pretty good. I actually think that this model is an inspiration for the Bolivius or whatever that was from O Melissa Casa. As well, the missing legs and the hands, so yeah. Also did the same design of like Nightmare Ortensia with the eyeballs connecting there, so yeah. Now moving on from Jigsaw Ortensia to what does that say? Okay, yes, I read it. Covert Oswald. I thought it was Covered Oswald or Covenant Oswald or whatever. This is also from the same game of Breaking the Magic, and this is their version of the DarkOswald. There is, well, some differences, but in that version, for instance, he's very, very dark. You can barely see anything other than his glowing eyeballs. So yeah, I think he also has an X on his thing, so it looks like he's just cartoony dead. It is a very weird design for DarkOswald, but it works. Kind of wish I'd made the ears a little bit better, but whatever. at the end there is a better version of this guy. Or at least the original DarkOswald. Moving on from DarkOswald to, well, something with harms. Oh my god. Alright, I also know where this is from. I thought it was a different game, but this is also from Nightmare Before Disney. On, I think, version 3 of Nightmare Before Disney, there's like a secret night with the Vision Night, and there's the Vision characters. Vision Mickey, Vision Oswald, and Vision Ortensia. I think that was the only 3, and it is literally impossible from what I know. I mean, I never got to that night because I think I broke the game, but here he is. Pulling up the original design side by side, and there is some differences to this guy. Like mainly the face, like the eyeballs and such, and well, the pants. As you know, hands are very hard to make, very accurately, so that little pinky is very skinny. He also just, for some reason, has a arm tearing through him in the middle, for some reason, so there's that. But for some reason, I made it more as a hand than anything else, so yeah. Now moving on from all the Vision Oswald to Vision Ortensia, I'm pretty sure. That's right. Okay, yeah, there's that. In this version, side by side, there's not really much differences other than, well, obviously, the face. Yeah, this model, or this face, looks very, very trippy. So much spikes and yum yum yum. Anyways, moving on from the Vision to, yes, the version 4 of these characters. Since they're called version 4, I decided to give them a different name called Suits. So, I think it's very fitting, especially of what they are, since there's corpse inside of them now, so yeah. I think I made this one very on par, but I also gave them a little bit more differences. I gave them whatever these things are, I guess twigs maybe. Maybe like a little bit of Mother style with the whole tentacle thing or whatever. So yeah, I just kind of gave them everywhere, but if you don't like it, then imagine it without those things. Now moving on to Suit Ortensia, there it is. There's 2 different versions of this Ortensia specifically, one without the brain and the other with the brain, so I gave it a brain. As you see, the twig things are back, and well, mainly the face, it looks really good. I really like how detailed I made the brain thing. Also, you can see that, I guess, the stem of the brain, like what's holding the thing together, I guess. So yeah. Moving on from Suit Ortensia to, well, as you can see, a shadow. I think I know which this is from. Okay, yeah. A very obscure version that I call Ink After Dawn Oswald. It's like another version of Nightmare Before Disney, but obviously these guys are way more different than what we saw earlier. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the Ink After Dawn Oswald. I think that's the original name I gave them. I think they were called something else, or Nightmares or whatever. I think I made these guys as accurate as possible with these After Dawn things, so yeah. Nothing else to really say, they're really that obscure, so let's move on to the Ortensia version, After Dawn Ortensia, which, yeah. I remember now. The hand right there, I think I accidentally tear it, did I tear it? For some reason, this side of the hand, I really struggled to get it right, so I think I erased it too much that it just now sketched, or I think I ripped it by accident, but oh well, if we ignore that, that's your After Dawn, or Ink After Dawn Ortensia. Here's a side-by-side image of these two, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the After Dawns. Oh my god, I see something in the background. Alright, let's just get to the next character. Oh, these guys, alright. That's right, you couldn't guess it, another Nightmare Before Disney thing. Particularly the Inkblot versions, that there was going to be a 2, but I think it was an April Fool's thing, I don't know, I never played it. And for some reason, this is our Oswald. Well, I mean, this version of Oswald doesn't even have a body. I mean, I think he actually has a body, but for some reason in his jump scare, he's just a floating head. So let's just focus on the floating head that I called the dry blots. Because I imagine these versions that all the ink has run out, so now they're just a lying corpse with barely any ink left, so yeah. I like how they turned out, so let's move on to the dry blot Ortensia, which, yeah, that's spooky. I think this version is my own take, or a little bit of my own take of this one, because I think the one that we have is very different to the others, so yeah. Obviously the same concept of like the ink all dried up, I guess, and looking like that. Other than that, there's nothing else I can really say, so let's move on to the Undead. I'm pretty sure this version is from the Scrap game, that's literally what it's called. And I really like how this one turned out. It looks so lifeless, but I mean, it still looks very cool at the end, so yeah. And also, I'm pretty sure this is my own take of the Undead, guys. There's still some parts that makes it loyal to, well, the image that you see right now, but there is obviously some differences, but it still makes it undead. So let's see the undead Ortensia. I think there was an undead Ortensia. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't even think it even has a jump scare. It's that. That is literally what she is. She's just. I don't think she can't even do anything. She just looks like that. Though I did made my own take on her too, because well, there's an eyeball right there. So let's just move on from this suffering thing to something else that is Sketch Oswald, from another obscure game that I think it's been made by the same person that made the Breaking the Magic. I don't know exactly because I never played it. I don't know if I would, but yeah, it is very on par to well the original image beside it. So I guess there's nothing else to really say about this guy. So let's move on to the Ortensia then. Alright, there we go. This is the one I remember. The concept of this Ortensia is so obscure to me, but I just gotta really like it. Her face is, well, it looks like that. It reminds me of Tails, or Tails' soul from the Sonic mod. But she also has the same arm thing as the suit Oswald. And for some reason, she has a sign face of herself. That is actually part of her thing, and that is indeed a jump scare. You get killed by a sign of her face. So, yeah, I guess she's just holding her popsicle, maybe. And yeah, that's about it for the sketch. Let's move on to... Oh, God, bloody. Alrighty, Nuts. This is a April Fool's character, or I think it's April Fool's character. It's like a fake version of Opal's Costa. This is just a location version with Funtime Mickey that's named Bees. So I think you get the concept. By comparison, I think I did really good on this model, but I struggled with the eyes, so it looks like that. I also made an Ortensia version of this. This is my original design for Ortensia. I mean, if there's gonna be a bond net, it only makes sense if there's gonna be a puss. Don't get me sued, it is a cat. It makes sense. Trying to make this as accurate as possible to Ortensia and well Nuts little designs, so I think I did a great job on it. Do you think so? Now moving on from the puss, let's move on to yes, Nightmare Inkblot Oswald. From Nightmare Before Disney Free, a game that I actually played it and beat it the custom night of actually, that I'm planning to rebeat again since it was on a live, it didn't look good, so yeah. Also, for some reason, this game is just very unknown, that there's barely any images, so it's very hard to find these things. But for the images I got, I think is very on par with the design of this guy, so let's just move on to Nightmare Inkblot or Ortensia, which... I mean, it looks very much the same as the other, so I made a lot more differences than the simple. You can see there's a lot more mouths than usual. So yes, another take of my Nightmare Inkblot Oswald. I gave her a scar again with the bloody mouth, and also I gave the hat also a mouth, like Nightmare Freddy. Well, I mean, he doesn't have a Nightmare mouth. Though Nightmare Fredbear has a Nightmare belly, so yeah. Yeah, and also I for some reason gave tentacles bottom, like roots of like maybe Forest King, I don't know. But yeah, I really like this design of, well, Ortensia, Nightmare Inkblot Ortensia. I think here's the side-by-side image if I even can find that, so yeah. So yeah, let's move on to this guy, whatever that says. This version of Oswald, wherever it says, it's from a very, very obscure game called Five Nights at Treasure Island: The Revenge. And this is literally just a silver Oswald. It's Oswald, but shiny silver. He's so shiny that he can reflect anything. Even in this jump scare, you can see the player. So yeah, let's move on from that guy to The Revenge, Oswald. Oh my god, what have I done to you? In game, he's not even called that. He's called Distorted Rabbit. So I completely messed up on that, but whatever. His name is now The Revenge. Trying to find images of this guy is very hard because it's another character that's so dark that you can't really see anything. Though I'm pretty sure this model is based on something else from a different Revenge game, but I'm too lazy to find that. So here you go. Here's your messed up looking Oswald with that mouth. So let's move on from this Oswald to the Ortensia. The Revenge Ortensia. Oh my lord. I'm pretty sure there's an Ortensia version of the Revenge game, but I can't really find it. I looked. There's not much. I know that there is one existing, so this is my own take, I guess. As you can see right there, I just completely removed her foot, so now she's one hopper. There's a spear going through her. It's mainly the face I want to go through, which, my lord, there's a lot to, I guess, to talk about. Her face is melting. Her face is grayed because I think it's another character that's very hard to see. I made a double flower thing that I liked how it turned out. One of her eyes is cartoony, the other is very realistic. Let me get close to that. Yeah. It's trying to be scary, but it's coming off more cute. So let's just move on from this thing and move on to... Oh my god. This right here, it's the Ink God. I'm pretty sure this is from the same game of Nightmare Before Disney Free with the Nightmare ink blots. And I forgot this thing's existence, so I made one myself. I can look for the original design of this thing, but I don't know if I have it. Or even if I'm just talking about a different game, so this is my own take of the Ink God, which obviously is not a god, it's clearly a demon. But I liked how it turned out. I, for some reason, made it rip. I made it clearly more as a demon, more based on Ortensia anyways, so yeah. I also gave it a tail eyeball thing, and I like how it turned out. This thing is... I was not expecting to see that. Let's just move on to something else. Oh god! Alright, Anime Oswald. You should know where this is from. Well, it should be more Quaddy Oswald, but whatever. It's from a completely different game that's called something else that I will not be saying, or even really show at all. So this is my own take, and yeah, it's not as well, whatever that is. So yeah, I made Oswald as a woman. This is also the first time I have made hair, and it doesn't look bad, but I definitely improved on making hair later on the line, so yeah. So let's just move on and see Ortensia's anime version. Ugh. Show anime kawaii! For some reason for this one, I gave this one bandage sticks. I don't know why, but yeah. Oh, it's a little bow tie. Yeah, there's nothing else I can really say, so let's just move on to... Okay, alright, Tunes. Based on the 2020 version of Final Fantasy Treasure Island, the newer and the well-known one. But I'm pretty sure this is based on, well, the image showed, so yeah. I made this as accurate as possible, and I think I did a well done job, especially with the face, so yeah. Nothing else to really say, so let's just move on to, well, Toon Ortensia, which this is the image that I got it from. I think it's official, I don't know. So, yeah, there it is. Not much to really say, it's just another brain Ortensia, so yeah. Now let's move on to Oblivious, as you can see right there. Bam. Oblivious or Bella, whatever you want to call it. By comparisons, I think I've done a really good job on, well, this thing in general. The concept and design of this is just always kind of cool to me, so here they are now. It took them a while to get to here. My lord, it's already been 30 minutes I've been recording this. And there should be only like under 100 characters, so let's just move on to... Oh god. Also made by Radiant Steed. This is the pawn or whatever you want to call it. And I made it as accurate as possible, as you can see. Just going down to the body, and it's just pretty typical. I like how I made a little hand thing. Let's just look at that face. Not even a mother can love that. Though yes, I did really like how this turned out. So you can see I'm improving with the drawings. Let's move on to the fan-made version of Ortensia that yeah. Okos. There is an original design of like a Ortensia of that version, but this is a fan-made version of something else that I found and got explanation from, so here it is. Look at this atrocity. Starting off with the face if it focuses. There we go. That is indeed something. I don't even really know how to describe this thing. I think I did a great job. Yeah. Not much to say with this thing, so let's move on to another Oswald that is... Ah, yes, the shades from also Oblivion's Casa. So here's the differences side by side. I mean, not differences, it's pretty accurate to the thing. I don't know what else to say with the shades. So here's Shade, or Shade Cat. This is Shade Rabbit. Here's Shade Cat. Also very accurate with the thing in general. But as you can see, I do still struggle with the arms in general, with fingers, so yeah. That's all I can really think of this character, so let's just move on to a different Shade Oswald. These are based on the more classic versions and the shades in general, so here's a side-by-side, but obviously there is some differences, especially with the base of the eyeballs. I got inspiration of like this Oswald right here, that is based on whatever NCP this number is called. It's 173, I think, I don't know. So I took inspiration of that, so I gave it that face, or like at least another row of eyes, so yeah. Now the next one is a fan-made Ortensia that is only fan-made. There's not really much in game, so here it is. Shade Ortensia. I really like how this turned out. If I can find an original image of it, so here, there it is. Obviously very edited, so yeah. It kind of reminds me of the Nightmare Ink blocked Ortensia with the whole Minnie Mouse things, but I did something different with the face, so you proud of me now? But yeah, I really do like this version of the Shade Ortensia, so hold on, focus. Alright, and now let's move on to the Lost Ones from, well, the Lost One game. Here's a side-by-side if I can find the original image of the Lost One Oswald. For some reason they have a symbol of the 8, so there's that, so yeah, I'm not sure what else to really say other than these messed up little fingers and hand. So let's move on to Shade Ortensia, which is also another original design, since there's not really a, or not Shade Ortensia, the Lost One Ortensia, so there's that. She's also for some reason missing a finger because I've messed up on the fingers, so there's that as well. So let's move on to, DarkOswald. There's the original name. This is from a different game. I think it was the anniversary version of Oswald. That looks interesting, I guess. I don't know. It's a happier Oswald with, I guess, vomit arms, maybe? Yellow blood, I don't know. But it's more like vines, so yeah. Anyways, moving on to a Ortensia. I think it's also a very original design of, or shady, that's what it is. Saddy, whatever. As you see, the little weird vine things in back, and also it's leaking out her face. Yeah, she does look cute. Also, she doesn't have a hat, so let's just move on to the Shade DarkOswald. Yeah. Oh, I don't remember actually looking like this. This is cool, actually. I'm pretty sure it's from the same game. When like the lights go off, they look different. So yeah. But I think there's a little bit of my own take on this thing, and it looks really, really cool. I'm mainly looking at the vines of this thing, or the yellow vomit, whatever it is. It looks really nice. And yeah, that's about it for that guy. Let me make it focus. So let's move on to the Shady. God, you look like in misery. I don't think it's as cool as Oswald back there earlier, but actually it looks like a beard, or like Pumpkin from My Singing Monsters, the rare version. That's kind of what it reminds me of. But yeah, that's about it. Let's just move on from this thing to this is the Oswald animatronic from like the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse thing, where the characters were going to be looking like actual animatronics. It looks very cursed. There was also a Oswald one as well that looked withered. So I guess this is my own take on the animatronic Oswald thing, and I think it looked nice. I mean, the ear still looks bad, but I'm still approving it, I promise. So yeah, that's that. Here's a Ortensia one. That's the Ortensia, animatronic Ortensia. Not as cool as Oswald, but it kind of made her look like with her Chica with the whole mouth thing and all. So yeah. This is also original design as well, because there's no Ortensia one. So let's move on to Withered DR, whatever that means. So yeah, it's the animatronic Oswald from earlier, but more busted. It actually kind of reminds me of Springtrap a little bit. It also made it a lot more armless, so there's that. Let's move on to the Ortensia one, that is. Yep. You actually remind me of Burnt Chico, wherever that is. Withered D-Cat. Oh. Withered D-Cat, Withered D-Rabbit. I'm not sure what D is for, but whatever. So yeah, there's that. It actually looks kind of cooler than the other one, so there's that, I guess. Well, but anyways, moving on to... Ah, yes. Inkblot DarkOswald. So, obviously it's based on, well, DarkOswald if he was ink-blotted. So yeah, there's that. I made him a spider, I guess. I think there's other fan-made version of DarkOswald, but obviously mine looks a little bit more different. So yeah, I think this next wave of lines of DarkOswald, it's just gonna be, well, DarkOswald, but if he was in other games. So here's Spirit DarkOswald, which, well, I'm glad I made more spirits. Here's a close-up of the face, which, yeah, I'm proud of the eyeballs, and, well, his mouth is completely gone. You can see his teeth floating. He's nothing but a head. He somehow is trying to grow his arm, but that is failing. And, yeah, just a cool design in general. I think I could have done a little bit better, but oh well. Alright, let's move on to the next DarkOswald. That, oh my lord. Hellborn DarkOswald. My proudest creation yet. I made him like a snake. I forgot I even made this guy. I'm so proud of this thing. Again, this is my own take of DarkOswald if he was a Hellborn, and I'm proud of how it went. He still looks like a cactus, but look at that spine. I have no idea what else I can add to this thing other than he looks very cool. So let's move on to Undead Classic Oswald. So the undead, but if it was, well, Classic Oswald. So yeah, not much I can say for this one. It's just, I mean, it kind of does look cool, the face and all. So yeah, I don't know what else to really add to this. So let's move on to the Halloween Scarecrow Oswald. I think this is the Nightmare Before Disney, but Halloween edition from a different Nightmare Before Disney. So there's, yeah, he is indeed a, well, a scarecrow with a hat, and also made some grass as well, and I think that went nice. So yeah, let's move on to the Clown Ortensia, which is Nightmare Ortensia, but a clown. So yeah, I don't really like the clown version of Ortensia that much. I still made it because I had to make a Halloween Ortensia, so yeah. She just also, for some reason, has a giant hammer as well, so yeah. Yeah, not much I can say else with this one, so let's move on to the Red Obvious Oswald right here. I'm not sure how to really say it, but yeah, here he is. He's from another obscure treasure island called Red Obvious or whatever, with a red Mickey. And there's a fan art of this Oswald that I'll show right now, so yeah, there he is. He's happy to be living. Look at him. Yeah, I don't know what else to really say for this guy, so let's move on to Photo Negative Oswald. There's indeed, here's the image of Photo Negative Oswald. It's indeed Oswald, but photo negative, so yeah. Anyways, moving on from that, let's talk about Jacko DarkOswald, or DarkOswald. So yeah, it's obviously from the line of the other two Jackos that we went past a little bit ago. So here he is now. I really like the way I done the pumpkin guts, just hanging out as a neck, and you can see some in the mouth as well. Other than that, I think I made him through a spider again with the double eyes thing. So let's just move on to. Oh my. Okay, I think this is the Halloween version of Classic Oswald. It's like for Nightmare Classic Oswald, but this time he's tinted. It's like that horror movie guy, whatever he was, that he was completely wrapped up and looked like that, so yeah. I don't know what else I can add with this guy. He looks, well, very crazy. Ooh. So let's just move on to, oh god, Sue DarkOswald. So I made him I made him suffering by giving him a pull to open his mouth wide. Yeah. Honestly, I think I made him a little creepy. I might have made someone startle or something. He also has those twig things or whatever, so yeah, there's that. I gotta give something different to this guy, or he's gonna look like a DarkOswald. So let's move on to Toon DarkOswald. So from the 2020 version of DarkOswald was, well, melting. He kind of reminds me of Bolivius a little bit, but Oswald. In the sense the tunes are based on the suits, but better quality, I kind of made it the same with his wide expressions and, well, melting in general, and personally it should be a lot more darker, though I'm not sure why his pants are not dark, but whatever. But yeah, this is my also original version of DarkOswald if he was in 2020 version, or now, I guess, I don't know. Anyways, moving on to... Oh, I just completely killed him. Oh my god. So, Dry Blot DarkOswald. I completely murdered him. He's dead. He's no longer with us. I gave it the same concept of a floating head, but the body is completely fallen over and he's on a stick. He's dead. I like design. Let's just move on from this thing and move on to Nightmare Inkblot DarkOswald. Look at that. Look at you. You look better. He looks really cool here. Especially the whole ink thing holding them together. As you see, he's not really... He can't really move. His head is completely still capacitated thanks to that pole. And you can see a little bit of his guts there. It's very gruesome. Very cool. I just like how he turned it out. Let's move on from this thing to... yes, classic Bella. So, like classic Cabin's face, I kind of want to make there be a classic Bella if she was in the classic style, so I think that's what she would look like, and yeah, it's kind of inspired by the classic Cabin face, so yeah, I'm not sure what else I can add to this, so let's move on to photo negative Ortensia. I also made her photo negative thing worthy. Here's a side-by-side thing. Let's just move on to Fanny, alright. Before Ortensia was existing, we had Fanny, another rabbit, but she was silently removed and replaced by Ortensia, which I think is a good choice. I like Ortensia as a character in general, and so. But somehow people remember Fanny as a character in general, so there's a now Find as a Treasure Island version of Fanny. Here's some of the images I can find, but this is my own take, I guess. I don't know. Fanny. Let's just move on. I'm not going to make any other versions of Fanny, so let's move on to the remastered Oswald. This is what you've been waiting for. Going back to the very original drawing of Oswald, he's missing some details, you can admit that. And now he has all the details that he needs, and also a lot more improvement in accuracy. There's those weird head things that I think is supposed to be like a cartoon, like mouse thing or whatever. The ears are way more better, and the body in general is, well, very interesting indeed. I think I really done myself with this one. It looks really good. There's also a remastered version of Ortensia. There's not much differences. I gave her eyelashes, and the head is a lot more better, isn't it? I think this skirt could have been a little bit more better, but it is the better versions. But we cannot talk about those two if we have Ortensia Phase 1. Now this looks really good. There's so much details I gave to this, particularly this version, that come on, it looks so much better than the other. Let's just give it a full rundown of this fella. Very cool. Now let's get to the final drawing of this one. Ortensia Phase 2. Ortensia as a character that I made, I'm very proud of this thing's existence. If I can find an original drawing of this guy, I will definitely show it off, maybe in like the future. But yeah, I am very proud of what I made, and that is coincidentally the last drawing. The end. God. The end. You can see everyone's faces and expressions. I'm too lazy to draw all of the heads, but yeah. I mean, you can see their faces. You can probably tell which one is from, but yeah. Look at them all. Look at them all. Nice. If you somehow watch through all of the Archwalds or Oswald Ortensias that I made throughout like the year. And welcome to the end. If you really liked this video and want to see more of my art, which I'll show off one of my arts right now, here's this, then I will happily will. But for right now, that is the end of, well, that. So see you next time with something else different. Bye bye.